The regular split is behind us with the certainty of who's best thrown to the wind. We'll see who can make the journey to St. Louis as we kick off playoffs today. FlyQuest prepared to face off against the Golden Guardians after splitting 2 games just last week. And Golden Guardians have donned their playoff blacks in anticipation for the match. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we say goodbye to the teams no longer with us and break down the LCS all-team vote until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champion Select. They say the best way to say farewell is to rip the Band-Aid clean off. So before we get to enjoy the excitement that comes with playoffs, we must say goodbye to our fallen brethren whose seasons have come to an end.
You wanna stay with me?
We don't have to chase. We don't have to chase though.
Yeah.
He has no ulti, no ulti.
Naughty.
Oh, you gotta go.
Oh my god.
TP,
Tipping. Fucking bang, man. Let's fucking go. This is bang.
Is going by.
On the 100 Thieves side, though, they are now alone in last place at 4 and 9.
Did you hesitate for a moment? And I asked myself.
You still can't get the big reward, and Hoody's going in.
Speaking of high risk, Rush gets a whole lot of pain. First blood over to Hoody.
I have never lost like first game of the regular seasons, which is like pretty, you know what's new? Just who needs winning just regular season.
This does mark the end of the road for Clutch Gaming. They are locked out. They cannot catch 6th place anymore.
Time. Don't time me, just.
Yo, save the wave.
Where was this Optic all seen?
Save the wave.
Optic, who sadly for them are also eliminated.
Guys, I'm 1 HP. We can lose this. No, kill him.
Driven.
Sonja's
Let's go, boys! Woo! GLG, baby!
It's so close, but just short for CLG.
Did you notice how every time it was like the call of the team's season ending, it was always Freak?
Yeah.
Like the harbinger of doom.
He's the grave digger of casters.
You don't want to. If your team is just like, if you're in the playoff hunt, you don't want Freak casting your game. It's scary.
What's he casting today?
No, I don't believe so.
Definitely.
I don't believe so. There are quite a few players that are veterans of playoffs and will look to use that experience to their advantage. We did a deep dive taking a look at numbers for the players that are making their appearance in the postseason. This is all-time games played by players in the postseason. Bjergsen, of course, topping that list. A few of these names you will not see. Afromu, Adrian, and Darshan. Other than that, though, the remaining players are all still in the postseason, and there are quite a few games.
Yeah, but Bjergsen, by having 93 playoff matches, that means if you're a rookie, it would take you over 4 splits of regular season play to be able to even have as many normal season games as he has in playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely insane amount of experience in these best of 5. Some other fun stats that we came across while digging into these numbers. Doublelift has the most playoff appearances with 12, only missing the postseason once in his entire career. Jensen, he's been in the most finals without winning one at 3, but he's counting on TL to do it this time around. 2 players in the current playoff bracket have a 0% win rate in the LCS playoffs. Is JJ and Court JJ. It's the JJ duo. I think it is honestly hilarious that a world champion can also have 0% win rate in the LCS.
He started from here. This was his home ground where the flower got to bloom. Core JJ on Dignitas.
He never would have won the World Finals if he couldn't have lost in the LCS playoffs.
Our paths have crossed, therefore I take some of his victory vicariously. Thank you very much.
No, you don't.
I don't think I agree with that one. I heavily disagree.
And Ole, of course, the winningest player by win percentage in the postseason. Let's get a refresher, though, of how the playoffs will play out now that we are in the postseason. Each series will be a best of 5, starting with today's quarterfinal between FlyQuest and Golden Guardians. We follow that with Echo Fox versus TSM taking place tomorrow. Team Liquid, the #1 seed, they get to choose their opponent in the semifinals, leaving the remaining winner of the quarterfinal weekend to face Cloud9. Looking at that bracket, what was the biggest surprise coming into playoffs?
I mean, it's got to be Echo Fox, right? These guys got to a point where they're struggling so much. You sub out Rush, you bring in Panda, and he looks not capable of dealing with the stage, whatever the stage pressure. And then you bring back Rush thinking you only brought Rush because Panda was just not living up to the standards, but surprise, they go on a 4-0 win streak, beating some of the best teams we have, TL, Cloud9, all just in time to make playoffs. And now they're like a dark horse going up against TSM. And if you're a TSM fan, you're a little worried because they're coming hot as Titan killers.
I'm not that scared if I was a TSM fan.
Really?
I'm not too afraid of Echo Fox, honestly, but when you look at this playoffs bracket, you're kind of thinking, in the beginning of the split, there's clear favorite. But now you're looking at it, wow, everyone has a chance to win. Like you're saying, Echo Fox has a chance to win against TSM. How high that is, that's questionable. But with the game with FlyQuest and Golden Guardians, it actually looks really competitive. And I think they'll be able to take a shot at whoever chooses them.
I mean, just even compared to like middle of the split when it felt like a 3-horse race, now it really does feel like a couple of these guys have a chance. You know, whoever goes up against TSM in semifinals has a chance, whereas if it happened middle of the season, it's like it's over. Team Liquid's too dominant.
Everyone's got a chance. Let's talk favorites, though. You've got the first place team in Team Liquid. You got Cloud9, who best performing team internationally, typically. And then you've got TSM. We talk about the momentum and the tear they went on the end of the split, handing 2 losses to Team Liquid. So with all of that in consideration, who do you actually favor here?
I think you have to favor TSM right now. The fact that you can beat Team Liquid, that was the favorite the entire split long, means that they have essentially absorbed all of Team Liquid's momentum and carrying it themselves. They have been playing so well in the meta right now, and Team Liquid going 1-3 in the last 2 weeks I can't imagine putting him as a favorite.
Yeah, but if you're a Team Liquid fan, that shouldn't concern you because you know their history from spring last split where they were not super dominant in the regular season. Even in summer, that was true. And then playoff rolls around, they steamroll kids. They were 3-0 in both their finals after having lackluster regular seasons. So this is their time to shine. I think TL is still the favorite.
Right, and even in the case that TSM beats Echo Fox, Team Liquid doesn't have to choose TSM, right? And they can hope that C9 will just beat up TSM for them. So even with that, they're not too concerned right now, I believe.
Playing the numbers game.
I hope they pick them.
Gang up on
Yeah.
I hope start trash talking on Twitter, so that way Team Liquid picks TSM. I want to see that happen.
Well, we talked TSM, TL. Let's talk about Cloud9. With the expectation maybe that TSM comes away with the victory this weekend, moves on to face Cloud9. Does Cloud9 have what it takes to take down TSM and then move on to play TL in the final?
I mean, they definitely do have what it takes to beat TSM, but I still think that TSM's momentum right now has been crazy. They've been playing with the meta specifically around top lane for quite some time, especially with the carries, whereas Licorice has kind of been flexing a little bit with the tanks. Remember the Orns, the Poppies. So I think that the carries in the top lane are really going to shine through this weekend.
Very interesting. We've got to step away for a quick break, but on the other side, we go through the LCS all teams. We'll see you here after the break.
All right, we're here with Freak and Joseph. Joseph is going to tell us who he thinks is going to win today.
It's very close. I'm leaning towards Golden.
We're here with Duncan. He's never really watched the LCS. He doesn't really play a lot of League, but he knows who's going to win today. Who's going to win, FlyQuest or?
Yeah, they gave me a free shirt, so yeah, I hope they win.
All right, well, we heard it here first. FlyQuest is going to win because they're more generous. We're here with the #1 Golden Guardians fan in the country. Why do you think they're going to win today?
I think they're going to play better than FlyQuest.
Do you think any other team stands a chance against Golden Guardians, or is it going to be a clean sweep all the way to St. Louis?
I think there's only one team that could beat Golden Guardians, and that's going to be my boys from the Bay, TSM. TSM's going to take it all. Going to take it all the way to Worlds.
All right, sorry, Golden Guardians, but at least you got to the final. All right, we're here with Carl, who's a big FlyQuest fan. He's going to tell us why they're going to win today pretty easily, too.
So, POB, right? He's going to take over and just destroy anyone, right? He's gonna go on LeBlanc, go 12-1, and then just carry the game single-handedly.
We're here with Dylan, big FlyQuest fan, and he's going to tell us why exactly they're going to beat Golden Guardians today.
Well, I think they have a stronger overall team. I think it's going to go down to 5 games, of course, but we're going to see a lot of Galio and support from JJ.
FlyQuest or Golden Guardians?
FlyQuest.
Golden Guardians.
Ooh, we got some division. And why is FlyQuest going to win?
Because I like them.
I like that. FlyQuest is going to win.
Can't argue with that.
That's a good
Can't
reason.
argue with that. We don't even need to play the game. Just FlyQuest gets the victory.
Too cute of a fan to let her down.
Too cute.
Disagree.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where playoffs get rolling in just about 16 minutes. With the regular season completed and the LCS end of split ballots collected, it is our pleasure to announce the LCS all teams. Let's start with the first one, the top dogs in each position. You've got Licorice, Smithy, Bjergsen, Double Lift, and Core JJ.
Yeah, not much of a surprise. I think a lot of these guys were expected to be on top, even with Team Liquid's bit of a dip towards the end of the season.
Yep.
Core JJ, Smithy, and Double Lift were all so pivotal for so long in the season.
Right, and the only arguable one's possibly Bjergsen, but like even then, I wouldn't be sad if I had Bjergsen on my team, right? I'm happy if I had Bjergsen on my team. So even then,
Bold statement. Bold statement.
Very bold.
Yeah, he was the only one not above 100 points, or was he just?
They were all above.
They were all
just
above.
above.
Yeah, pretty clear cut, first team.
Yeah, very much so. I do think, to your point, though, the disagreement for some people would come around Jensen in the mid lane, and I think it is arguable for either of them, but quite clearly all 5 of these guys are top performers on their teams. I think the thing that'll jump out to most people is the margin by which Licorice won the top lane vote. The rest of the roles, relatively close. He absolutely obliterated the competition in his point.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the top lane pool is not too strong aside from Licorice. So if you're trying to make it to the NLCS, be a top laner.
Yeah, there you
go. That's an easy way in right now.
Top lane.
Then you got to
Who
play
wants to play
top.
top
and then you got to play that role. Oof. All right, let's take a look at the second team, the guys who will play second fiddle to this group. Impact, Sven, Skaren, Jensen, Sneaky, and Zazel.
Yeah.
All of these players have gone through Cloud9 at some point
Hey, there's
in
something
their
about that
careers.
org.
Yeah, there's something about that org and talent. But there's the point to be made around the top lane.
Yep.
48 points get you second place here for the top lane, while across the board there we see the 80s as compared to the 100s between second and first.
Yep, absolutely the case. Sneaky the second lowest, but that's because it felt like there was a clear top 3 for those marksman players. Sven going to be the other guy that you'll see. He was only 2 points behind at 63, so Sven and Sneaky, super tight race for second team.
I mean, I know Sneaky almost always goes behind Double Lift when it comes to LCS rankings, but he's got international success, and Double Lift has not made it that far internationally yet. So to me, Sneaky's still superior in my heart.
I like it. Of course, yeah. It's by virtue of being a regular split award. That's where Double Lift gets the bid.
Right, and out of these 15 players, there's one person that is different from the rest
Let's
of them.
go, Santorin.
Santorin.
Woo!
He's the only person that isn't on TSM, C9, or Team Liquid, and we gotta give some props to him. He's been playing extremely well this split.
Yeah, he's been super good. I think the other surprising thing that jumps off to me with third team was actually Broken Blade getting the nod. It was really surprising to see that, and I have a hard time
Questionable in my
coming
mind.
to terms. I think Haunter has actually had a super good split on a team that needed a pillar for them, and that was kind of him throughout a lot of the season.
So let me ask you this. If we go, let's say we had one more week and Broken Blade performs just like he did in the other weeks, would that make Broken Blade good enough to be in the top 3?
No, because it's not about the recency thing for me. It's the first half of the split where they're playing around topside and failing 2v2s and all this stuff. I think it's really close, don't get me wrong. Honster had 30 points in second place, and it's just one of those things where...
It's a 5-point differential.
It's a 5-point differential, and somebody voted first team for Broken Blade, which was a bit of a troll.
Which is lunacy.
Clutch Gaming coach. It's just like people don't always take the voting seriously, which really just destroys it.
Yeah, I think to Mark's point, by the end of the split, Broken Blade, in my mind, reached the level of Hanser, whereas there was the consistency to a degree from Hanser for a larger portion of the season, and that's why I as well voted for Hanser above Broken Blade. Either way, that's how the chips fall. To hear more of the story of Santorin, though, that one guy to kind of break the mold in all of the all-team lists, check out the latest episode of Drive, which follows the FlyQuest Jungler. It's time for another quick break. When the countdown returns, the analysts precisely break down each matchup in Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest. You won't want to miss it.
Yeah, got a pretty big fender bender here.
State Farm's got you covered, Mike.
That's great to hear, Robin. Everybody remain calm. We have this situation under control. We'll be out of here in a jiffy.
When I think of playoffs, I think of the feeling I get when I go out on stage and the crowd is just roaring. It's just like the electric air of it. It feels like that was what you'd been working for your whole year.
Hand on my heart, I'm down on my knees, I'm asking you nicely. I take the blame, I take a bullet, would you take one from me?
I haven't won a title in a pretty long time. It hurts me to not be able to make my fans happy, and I still want to prove I can bring a team to first place.
FlyQuest now going for the initiation.
Bonnie and Clyde, right till we die, do it so careless.
The damage comes through and Turtle goes wild.
Just start the fire, watch it burn out and leave. If you know,
They're going for it! They're going for it! The pentakill to send them into playoffs. And the Titan Killers will face TSM.
I guarantee you, Bjergsen and Sven remember us knocking them out. I think they should be scared.
What a split from Golden Guardians!
Our fans, they've endured the most possible, going from back-to-back 10th place to finally see us make it into playoffs. We're going to do it for our fans.
The flag, they're going to get first blood now! Oh, man.
Right now, I have so much confidence going into playoffs. I haven't had this feeling for a while. But this time, TSM is the real deal.
Bjergsen takes him out with a bomb.
TSM taking down TL. Who is the playoff favorite now?
the chants, the fans, the atmosphere is so hyped. You know, you get so pumped. I live for that moment. You know?
Whether it's to practice or the game or the fans, there is a different energy. It's like, yeah, let's do this.
Sneaky Six is batting to the broken plate. It's a comeback story! And Cloud9 take the win!
Doublelift is the king of NA, so if you play with Doublelift, you're gonna have pretty good chances at winning.
I think the team that I'm on in LCS, we're gonna win. I have a responsibility to my teammates to keep that up. They have an expectation with Peter. He's gonna play really well when it really counts.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where Game 1 of FlyQuest versus the Golden Guardians is just 7.5 minutes away. Last week, these teams faced off not once, but twice to decide side selection, going 1-1 on Sunday. And since this is perceived as the closest quarterfinal match, I wanted to challenge the analysts to pinpoint where each team has the edge. So we're going to go lane by lane, as we've done many times in the past. But they're going to put a face on these lines to basically dictate how favored they think the matchup is one way or the other. So let's start in the top lane. You guys throw your faces up for clarity.
Let's do this.
That little middle line means it is an even matchup. No player has the advantage. The further you go to one side, the more favored it is towards that player. So as they throw these up, all three of you are in agreement that Hanser will get the better of Viper this time around. Talk to me. Why is that?
Right, so you have to keep in mind one of these players is a rookie and the other is not. He's won multiple championships in playoffs and in the LCS, and I think that'll go a far away. They both have a pretty big champion pool. I believe his experience being on the playoff stage will bring him ahead of Viper.
Yeah, and Hanser's been an absolute monster in the top lane, especially in laning phase.
Yeah.
But the thing that I like about Viper a little bit in this matchup and why it's not super Hanser favored is with what we've seen going on in the top lane with the meta, where people are playing a lot of mages and Karma and hey, play Kayle, and it feels like there's a ton of carries up there, and it's a lot about counter picks and stuff. I assume Viper, this solo queue superstar, has a lot of things prepared, whereas Hanser feels like his team relies on him to play a certain style a little bit more.
So you can take a look at the CSD differential here, and Viper has actually been playing way more carries this season than Hanser, yet he's still at a lower CS differential, and that is not a good sign when you're trying to play a lot of carries. So if it's a carry versus tank matchup and the tank is getting more CS, you gotta go with Hanser.
All right, fair enough. Let's jump to the junglers then. Santorin, of course, was the only guy to make it on to that third team all LCS, who wasn't on TSM, TL, or Cloud9. Highs drop that face on the ground. Excuse me while I bend through the shot to grab that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You got my face.
All right, I got your face.
Stop covering me up.
Don't worry.
Crumbs.
I love how Crumbs keeps going last, so that his face,
on top.
his face can be on top of everyone else's face.
I'm slow. It takes me a while to do these things.
Okay, so this one is favored towards Santorin. I'm not necessarily surprised given his history and pedigree, and you talk about experience, but let's dive into the matchup and how the two players might interact.
Yeah, I think we all kind of favor it a little bit more towards Santorin, even more so than the Hanser matchup. And I think it's because he's such a backbone for this team. Santorin is always super reliable, farms super well, gets ahead in CSD and experience, has high kill participation, as well as first blood percent. He does almost everything right and almost never makes mistakes.
I mean, he's on the third all-pro LCS team. Contracts is not. Santorin has had multiple championships, and even though they both have a really wide champion pool, whereas they've been playing Kindred, Poppies, and all these things, Santorin has been doing it to a much greater degree of success than Contracts, especially when you consider how well he and Pobelter have been playing, whereas I feel like Contracts and Froggen are a little bit more disjointed in what they're trying to do as a mid and jungle.
Right, and that might be just because Contracts is a little bit more volatile than Santorin is. Santorin generally won't feed. Contracts may have a game or two that he feeds, so...
A little feast or famine, yeah.
All right, let's jump to the mid lane then. Pobelter versus Froggen. Of course, Pobelter and Froggen both have tons of experience across both of their histories. Froggen, though, looking to make a statement in this playoffs that he is back. And still can play with the absolute best. It looks like this might be the closest matchup we've had so far. Crumbs, you're the only one who goes maybe 51-ish% in favor of Pobelter.
Great eye, Dash. 51 to 49.
I got it. I knew it. Right on the line.
Yeah, I mean, Pobelter has been winning championships for quite some time now. He's won it on CLG. He won with Liquid last split. So I think that this guy has been a pillar when it comes to having a mid laner that enables everybody else on your team. And you can take a look at his stats right there. It's not a big difference when it comes to what Froggen has been doing as well. The gold share is the same. And while he does a little bit less damage than Froggen does with the same of gold, I think that he enables his guys a lot more, especially Wild Turtle, that I think is going to be a huge factor in this game.
Right, and I think Froggen has a pretty clear edge here because they kind of play similarly in the sense that they're both solid rocks for their teams, right? But when you're thinking of someone that's going to hard carry a game, you don't really think of Pobelter. He definitely won't feed, but either will Froggen. But Froggen will hard carry your team across the finish line if he must. And I believe that just puts him the edge over Pobelter.
But how many games does one person solo carry in this current
You can
match?
ask, fine, but
History says
you can carry
Feature
teams.
matchup is the mid lane, but we got to talk about the remaining lane on the Rift, and that is the bot lane. Starting with the ADCs, again, you talk about a mismatch in experience. Wild Turtle, one of the most veteran players on the stage today, across from Deathly, who's making his first playoff appearance. All three of you say Wild Turtle.
High's all the way over.
Hi, it looks like you're saying Deathly has no chance.
All right. There's a chance, it's just very slim. And I'm going to say, I love both these players, so I hope he doesn't hate me. I love you, Deathly. But there's a pretty big difference to me in the terms of their play style. Turtle is a person that is very aggressive and will be in the correct position to make sure he hits priority targets, and Deathly might not be.
All right, of course, we got to talk about the better halves of both of these bot lanes as well. The supports, JJ versus Ole. Ole has that winningest percentage in playoffs, gentlemen.
Get off my face.
Get off my face!
So I think the bot lane is actually really interesting because while I absolutely agree Turtle's the better bot laner, it actually is a thing where they just take really lane dominant things like Draven and Kalista and try and go even or win the lane. And Ole can help support that playstyle. He's just a lot coin flippier where I think JJ is a lot more stable.
All right, suggest that it could be determined then by how Ole or JJ end up piloting that bot lane. Playoffs raises the pressure to perform, my goodness. So let's hand it back over to Coach Kobe for a little post-season pep talk.
Well, la-di-da! You've made it to playoffs. Are you proud of yourselves? Your parents proud? Your fans proud? Well, they should be. You spent all of last year dominating the LCS. You're gonna let them take that away from you? Hell no. It's always you. Internationally, who else can we count on? None of them. It's you. And you? It's been a rough year. Whew. Last year was definitely bad. Well, you are kicking ass now. You've defeated all of them in the back half of the split. It's time to bring back the chance. TSM. And you, rising up, great content, questionable haircuts, but that's not what wins championships. Willpower does, and you've got it. You, Band of Rejects, they laughed at you. Do you still have it? Are you washed up? Hell no. Back-to-back 10th, you're in playoffs now. Write your own destiny. And you're here too. Ha! Titan Killers, though. Those last 4 wins, that's gonna strike fear into the hearts of the previous winners. And you can do it all the way to St. Louis. Don't stop here in the LCS. Make it to finals.
Inspirational words from an inspirational man. Thank you very much, Kobe. And now, ladies